Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Bruce here, traveling with Bruce. Welcome to today's date, December the 4th, 2020. I got a video here for you. What the cruise lines are telling you and what's really going on. Sometimes not the same story, and you'll understand what I'm talking about as we get into this video here. There is a lot happening right now in the cruise scene between Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, MSC, the industry as a whole, and I'm going to try to cover it all in one video. I must be crazy. Thank you all for following my channel, Traveling with Bruce. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, 61,000 of you now and counting. And thank you to those of you who are sending donations to this channel through my PayPal link, which is down below. We haven't been paid for advertising now since September 15th from YouTube. Even though you're seeing ads, we're not getting paid, so we're surviving. Thank you for any of you who are making a donation of $10 US or more. I'm sending out these TWB custom-made Creston postcards. Just include your name and address when you send a donation. And those of you who are becoming sponsor members, 33 cents a day. Number one, you get a postcard. Number two, you get two sponsor shows, one on Monday, one on Friday. And thank you for all of your help and popping in and seeing me. Now, let's talk about the news here. What the industry is talking about and what's really going on. Yesterday, I did a video about these guys, Princess Cruise Lines, owned by Carnival, the Medallion Ocean program. Very good news. They are enhancing the program. They're making it more dynamic, trying to go as touch-free as possible. This is good stuff. Very happy to report this news. I wish I could give you nothing but good news all the time about this kind of stuff, but I can't. The reality, though, is that Princess has been offering the Medallion program for over 2 years already, and they're just basically adding out the rest of their fleet. But nothing wrong with that. That's, nothing controversial. But they're also enhancing the features. All right, now with Carnival, the news here from the cruise line is that they've been talking about starting their sailings with the Carnival Breeze and the Carnival Horizon out of Florida ports when they get the clearance to do so. They've also talked about extending the future cruise credits from December 31 to May 31, giving cruisers more time to use their future cruise credits. The actual news that's really going on here, number one, the Carnival Horizon flunked its CDC testing to be able to get a certificate to cruise. They can't even get crew on and off the ship out of Florida ports because they flunked the CDC health protocols just for that, let alone putting any passengers on. So this is a delay, and we'll watch that. Future cruise credits, good thing they've extended it to May, but the reality is they're going to have to extend it to May 2022, in my opinion, because they're unlikely to start sailing until enough of us get vaccinated. That isn't going to happen till late summer, early fall, and we won't be cruising really until late fall next year. So if the cruise line starts with 2 or 3 or 4 ships and then slowly adds ships beyond that, it's going to take a year and longer before anyone can use up their future cruise credits. Other stories about Carnival. The chairman, Mickey Arison, sold 5 million shares of his own stock at around $20 some odd a share to bring in $100 million. He's selling stock while the shares are reaching the new highs. That's kind of interesting. They've canceled cruises now until March 1 across the board. They're going to probably have to cancel them all the way to the fall. They're probably going to need to raise anywhere from $2 to $3 billion more in cash to survive this added downturn. Shareholders will be diluted another 20 to 40%. Costa, Princess, Holomeca, all canceled as well. And the federal judge in Miami is still to be satisfied by Carnival to allow them to sail. They need a certificate for every single ship they have to be able to sail again because of that environmental ruling that they lost. They had to pay a $40 million fine plus a $20 million additional fine for breaking their probation order, and they're still under, double secret probation, if you want to use an Animal House term. They're really up against it, and this is not being reflected in the stock price, and of course the company is not talking about it in any real way. Now, with regard to Royal Caribbean, they came out with an announcement a little while ago that the Odyssey of the Seas is all finished. It's being floated out of the Meyer Werft shipbuilding yard in Papenburg, Germany. Here's a video that the company released. A beautiful looking ship. Practically $1 billion. I would imagine by the time it starts sailing, it'll be almost a year behind schedule, but we can forgive them for that. That is a pandemic story. But this is good news, and that was what was promoted. The reality of what's going on, though, the shares have now hit a new high in the $82 range, even though the company is technically insolvent. They've announced overnight last night that they're going to raise another $1 billion in cash by issuing stock from the treasury of the company, diluting shareholders yet again. They've canceled all their cruises on the Royal Caribbean line, the Celebrity line that they own, Azamara, Silver Sea, until at least March 1, and I think it'll take until next fall to get up and running again. The ship that they've been really hyping up, the news that they're sailing out of Singapore on those cruises to nowhere. The first cruise left port just yesterday, I think it was, day before, 27% occupancy. They can't even sell the ship out to what they really want to go with. I would be guessing that they wanted to get up to about 45-50% occupancy. 27% occupancy, not good. They say they have no plans to scrap cruise ships, but the Empress of the Seas and the Majesty of the Seas are within 200 miles of the Turkish scrapyard and have been for over 4 months. I think they're just waiting around until they get told to chug on over to the scrapyard in Turkey, unless the ships are going to be sold to somebody else, to another line. But something tells me that the ships are sitting right now in Greece, just off an island, and I think it's only a matter of time before they either get dumped off to somebody else or get scrapped altogether. Unfortunately for those ships, that's what I'm guessing. Norwegian, they're talking about how great things are with respect to future bookings. 2021 and 2022, everything is great. Lots of bookings, strong bookings. Anytime they can mention this, they are, to try to reassure the world that all is well. What's really going on? They've canceled all their cruisings until March 1, and they'll likely not sail until September. They're going to need more cash, $1 to $3 billion more. They're going to have to dilute their stock to do it. They've adjusted the final payment dates. It used to be that you had to pay by 120 days before your cruise. You had to pay for your entire cruise. People are balking at that, and these guys blinked. They're now saying, okay, 60 days to the cruise is when final payment is due. And they're adjusting their refund policy, much more generous to the sailor. And they're now selling 2023 cruises. So they're desperately trying to bring money in from anywhere they can get it. And by releasing the 2023 schedule already, this allows them to do what they're doing, which is cancel out the 2020 cruises, now starting to cancel out the 2021s the first couple of months. They'll do a couple of months at a time, every month or so, until virtually most of 2021 is eliminated, and they'll be selling 2022s and 2023 cruises. That's what's going on there. Now, over in Europe, MSC, this morning, they announced what Costa announced last night. They've been told by the Italian government, you're done. You're not sailing anymore at this point in time. They're trying to put a happy face on a sad story. They're trying to say, it's all right. We'll be back on January the 15th. It'll all be okay. We're just being told to shut down between Christmas and New Year's. Folks, I have a gut feeling that these guys will not be sailing until next fall, either until a vaccine is fully distributed. The Italian government just hasn't come out and out said it. But there is such an outbreak happening in Europe. Costa, MSC, AIDA, they have all shut down. The German government shut it down. The Spanish government's shut down. There are no ports that are going to be available to sail in and out of in all of the Mediterranean through this winter and into next spring. So do not be surprised if we hear more of these kinds of restrictions being imposed by more more governments because the virus counts in Europe are out of control and they're looking at massive lockdowns. Other industry info. The three public cruise lines have come out to say, now when I say the three public, I'm talking about Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian, and all of their subsidiary lines. They have already been shuffling senior executives all over the place. A bunch of them have been let go. Their contracts have expired, or they've not been renewed, or they've been just bought out. And those who are remaining, especially the top people, they're not being paid cash. They're working in effect for no salary, but they are working for paper, for stock, and their stock grants have been bumped up dramatically. So on the one hand, it looks good from a PR point of view that they're not paying cash to their executives, but in reality, the paper is being pushed out the door from the Treasury to these guys. And as I say, Mr. Arison just sold 5 million of his shares for $100 million cash. Now, he still has 80 million shares left, so don't think he's abandoning the company, but he did sell 5 million for $100 million. I won't be surprised if in the next few months some of these senior executives from the other lines will do the same thing. They will sell stock to raise cash in lieu of the salary that they have not been getting. Stock analysts for the Wall Street brokerage firms have been consistently doing the old two-step. They've been bumping up the estimated price targets per share of the three publicly traded companies. As the shares have risen in value, they've risen their targets. It's funny. The stocks are actually leading the analysts instead of the other way around. But yesterday, when the analyst for Bank of America raised the price target for Royal Caribbean, he only went from $30 a share to $60. The stock's at $82. No reality whatsoever. And at the same time, these analysts are bumping up their projections as to where these prices are going to go for the shares, ignoring the fact that they need to raise billions of dollars because they haven't got a dime coming in. The firms that they work for have lined up to offer stock to their clients and investors to help these companies raise billions of extra cash. These are the same brokerage firms that already issued all kinds of bonds to pension funds, hedge funds, and other entities to raise the initial $10 billion these guys needed to survive. Now they're issuing stock from the treasuries, diluting all shareholders left and right to help keep these companies surviving for another year or so. Every single bond issued by the brokerage firms that the analysts work for are now all rated as junk bonds by the bond rating agencies. So if a pension fund holds any Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, or Carnival bonds, the bonds might be ineligible to be held by the funds themselves. They may have already dumped them into the open market at a loss, or they may have converted the bonds into stock, or most likely they've bought insurance against default that if the cruise lines can't pay the interest and the principal back, the pension funds have covered themselves with an insurance policy, and you can bet your bottom dollar it cost them a huge penny to do it. Because there are people out there who will issue insurance for you on any kind of bond you have, but you will pay a serious premium just to, in effect, protect your cash. And some of these pension funds are under mandatory rules that if a bond that they hold becomes a junk-rated bond, at the very least, they have to buy insurance. If they don't, they're in breach of their covenants, and that could be a big, big problem. These pension fund managers could be let go. There you have it. So what the cruise lines are saying and what's really going on are sometimes not the same thing. Just like they used to say in Sesame Street, some of these things don't look the same. Something's wrong here. The cruise lines are doing all they can to keep it happy, keep it positive. And then there's reality, and unfortunately, sometimes reality is unpleasant to hear, and we don't want to hear it. But on this channel, I'm letting you in on what's going on. Thank you again for joining me today. Thank you for your support. We'll keep you posted. Bye for now.